Brock Orwig lied when he said his wife invited him into her home, then stabbed him in the back. At least that's the conclusion police and prosecutors in Edina, Minnesota came to after examining over 300 pieces of evidence.
I was charged with first-degree premeditated attempted murder.
And as for how Brock was stabbed,
that is about the craziest theory I've heard. The police say that you took the knife and you stuck it in the wedge of the toboggan and that you basically stabbed yourself in the back.
That was their theory.
Did you?
No. No.
but that would be one man's word against the state of Minnesota. And if either side wanted to win their case, they would have to convince Bob.
What was your role in all of this?
I was the jury foreperson.
It wasn't Bob's first time serving on a jury, but he says as soon as he heard the opening arguments, he knew he had his work cut out.
I'm saying to myself, what's going on here? We're hoping that between the both sides would come back to us and give us the information that we can make an informed decision.
If only it had been that easy. Though no cameras were in the courtroom, the prosecution quickly set about disproving Brock's story, starting with the day before the attack, when he says he ran into Leigh at their daughter's school and she invited him over.
Is that true?
No, we weren't on speaking terms. I was surprised that he was there. You could have cut the air with a knife.
The real story, prosecutors argued, is what Leigh said in the beginning.
That he tried to strangle her because there was some problems with, he was not paying child support.
But did the evidence really support the charges? First, there was that 2x4 Brock says he wrestled out of Leigh's hands, then used in self-defense.
It had both my DNA and hers.
Okay, and that kind of supports your version of what happened?
Well, yeah.
But supporting Leigh's story? When police searched Brock's house, they found wood matching the 2x4 used in the attack, the other tube sock matching the one on the 2x4, and even rope matching the ones Leigh says Brock used to bind her. His defense?
There were several occasions where there were some things that were stolen from my driveway. And I have no doubt it was Leigh.
What was missing?
Yeah, there we go. So what was missing was the 2x4, one of my socks, and there were pieces of rope that I had used on my friend's boat.
An almost too perfect explanation.
And we kind of say to ourselves, okay.
And that was still just a small sampling of the evidence. There was also Brock's jacket, which police said should have been cut up to match his knife wounds. But Brock says he was already half out of his jacket before the knife ever came out.
Okay, so you had part of your jacket still on while this wrestling is going on?
Yes. It fell off at some point while we were wrestling.
But even if you believe that, what about the, quote, murder to-do list detectives found in that jacket?
What was your opinion of the to-kill list?
They had brought in a handwriting expert too. You know, who actually wrote this note and everything. And from what we were able to gather, Brock did not write the note.
An unexpected twist. The prosecution's own expert couldn't conclusively say the handwriting was Brock's. And if he didn't write it...
She had forged my name before? Yes, she had.
She, as in Leigh. So his defense asked, had she also forged the note?
He says you wrote them and put them in his pockets.
I must have forgotten to leave my DNA on them.
I didn't have anyone's DNA on it.
It was so bizarre, you know, everything that was going back and forth.
And it would only get crazier. On the other side of that note, the hand-drawn map leading from Leigh's house to where police found Brock's car. Not at his house, but near a friend's place.
I'll give you that the murder to-do list looks more like a plant. The map, I don't know where I fall on the map, because how could she have known your car would be parked pretty much in the same location as the map has it?
Easy, Brock's lawyer argued. She was stalking him.
I think she was obsessed.
And believe it or not, the jury was listening.
Was Leigh stalking Brock, watching every move of him?
So you think that's a possibility?
It's always a possibility.
So you didn't immediately say, well, the only person who could have known this information was Brock, therefore Brock made that map.
No.
Reasonable doubt?
So then he suggests maybe you were following him.
Was I following him while I was chasing him with a knife? I don't understand.
And of all the evidence presented at trial, both sides argued it was that knife that said the most.
Here's something I don't understand about the knife in your back. The blood on the handle of that knife belongs to you. How is that possible?
I don't think that was my blood. I think that's hers.
It's not her blood, it's yours.
I don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, please.
Envelope containing swabbing of blood-like substance from the knife handle matches the DNA profile obtained from Brock. And it does not match the DNA profile of Leigh.
Good. Okay, so I guess that's pretty clear. So the only thing I could tell you is if that was my blood, then that would be the same blood that was on Leigh's hands. That would be the same blood that was on the floor in the garage.
The same blood he says she got on herself after slashing at his arms.
Now, keep in mind, I'm oozing blood all over the place. There is no blood trail from my side door to the garage because I wasn't following him. None of my blood is in the garage. It's all Brock's.
But an even bigger question than how Brock's blood got on the handle was how the knife really got in his back. Was the prosecution's theory even possible?
You'd have to be like in Cirque du Soleil to pull off something like that.
Brock was a gymnast. He's a lot more flexible than you think he necessarily is, but I have no idea what happened in my garage that day. I only know what happened to me that day.
And again, there seemed to be plenty of evidence to support that. But the knife?
It did not happen with that knife wedged in the back of that toboggan. Did not happen that way.
What does that mean, Bob?
Coming up,
They tried to tell the truth.
after days of testimony, it's time for the verdict. But
The judge said neither story reflected the physical evidence.
the biggest surprise is yet to come.
Isn't that unusual not to have your cell phone on you?
No, I've forgot my wallet and cell phone lots of times.